Hey guys, welcome to my channel Elite Wrestling World. My name is GhostSaad. Thank you for joining for the post-show review of AEW Collision. We had a loaded show tonight with Steel Cage Trio's Elimination match in the main event. Also, we have further build towards Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. Serena Deeb makes his return to AEW. And we had Mariah and Orange Cassidy on the show as well. Collision kicks off with Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli making their entrance for the opening match of the night, with their opponents already waiting in the ring, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. Tony Schiavone mentions that Claudio has won 52 of his 70 matches in AEW. He uppercuts the hell out of Taylor early on. Jon Moxley and Lee Moriarty brawl on the outside, until Taylor gets out there and clips Moxley in the back of the head. Claudio is sent over the barricade. Claudio somehow gets Shane up for a suplex to pop the crowd. Mox tags in and goes after Lee Moriarty with a release suplex. Claudio delivers the giant swing on Lee. Taylor and Claudio exchange blows in the middle of the ring until Claudio lariats him to the outside. Mox with a diamond cutter on Moriarty. Mox and Claudio hit Taylor with the heart attack. Mox tightens a choke on Taylor and his lights go out to end the match. Moxley tries to recruit Lee Moriarty in BCC, but Shane Taylor interrupts. Backstage, Roderick Strong and Komandar are interviewed. The Kingdom offer to help Komandar beat Orange Cassidy tonight for the AEW International title. It's not clear if Komandar understands what they are saying as he gestures approval of the idea. Next up is Orange Cassidy versus Komandar for AEW International Championship. Very good match between the two. The Kingdom make their way to the ring heading into the commercial break. Komandar comes back with a destroyer for a near fall. Roddy takes the ref, as the Kingdom are about to attack OC on the outside. Komandar takes out the Raw Tag Champs with his tightrope running dive. Cassidy catches Komandar with the orange punch back inside the ring for the pin. So we are slowly building towards Roderick St. Wrong versus Orange Cassidy for AEW International Championship at Revolution. The cameras rush to the backstage area, where Daniel Garcia is laid out and a bloody mess. Daddy Magic kneels over him yelling out for help. They show a clip from after Dynamite where Mariah asks Toni Storm to be at Collision to watch her match. Toni initially agrees, but then suddenly says she can't make it. Mariah defeats Lady Frost in a quick match. A good showing for Mariah as we are building her character on television. Swerve Strickland cuts a promo hyping up the Dealer's Choice gimmick for next week's Dynamite. He keeps it in-house and chooses Mogul Embassy's Toa Leona to fight Hangman. Hangman responds after the commercial break. He says he'll make Swerve wait the whole show to find out who he picks to fight Swerve. So Hangman and Swerve are building towards the triple threat match at Revolution. They want you to believe that it's gonna be a singles match for Samoa Joe, but we will surely get a triple threat match. Up next we have Eddie Kingston versus Willie Mack in a proving ground match. Willie Mack is a very good professional wrestler, but we know that Eddie is not gonna lose to Willie Mack. Interesting thing happened after the match as Bryan Danielson makes his entrance as Kingston walks up the ramp to leave. Bryan walks right by Eddie without even looking at him, and his match is next. Eddie decides to join the commentary team for the match. Bryan Danielson versus Yuji Nagata was a technical classic. They have a classic test of strength early on, with each man taking turns with the advantage. Bryan nails the shotgun dropkick for a near fall. Both men exchange blows in the middle of the ring. Bryan locks in an E-bar, but Nagata eventually shoves him off. Another exchange of strikes. Nagata refuses to budge after headbutts from Bryan. He throws Bryan down to the mat from the top rope. Nagata lock is applied and he rolls his eyes back. Bryan finds the ropes with his feet to break the hold. Bryan kicks Nagata repeatedly in the head. He lands the Busaiku knee for the pinfall win. Bryan shakes Nagata's hand after the match, with a smirk on his face to off Eddie Kingston. So there is your build between Bryan and Eddie. It's gonna be an amazing match between these two, as we have already seen in the Continental Classic. Backstage, FTR isn't sure if Daniel Garcia can make it to the cage match main event. Mark Briscoe volunteers to replace him if necessary. Brian Cage is interviewed backstage and talks trash about Hook. Hook interrupts and says anytime he wants a shot at the FTW title, he's right there. A quick match between Serena Deeb and Robin Renegade. Very good reaction for Serena Deeb return. Serena Deeb grabs the mic after the match is over and asks if the fans missed her. She's been stuck home for the last 15 months wondering about her future, and now she's back. And it feels good to be back. Why is she here? She's back to elevate the women's division. She's back to put the wrestling back into All Elite Wrestling. She is back to become champion. This isn't what she does, it is who she is. The women's division is on notice now that the most elite wrestler is back. FTR makes their entrance for the cage match main event with Daniel Garcia nowhere in sight. Mark Briscoe makes his entrance to replace him, but the lights go out. When the lights return, Briscoe is attacked by House of Black and thrown off the stage through a table. The commentators assume they are also the ones responsible for what happened to Garcia. FTR meets them on the ramp and the brawl begins. All 5 men are brawling outside the cage. Brody King smashes Cash Wheeler with a diving crossbody into the barricade. Dax is thrown headfirst into the chain-link steel. Malachi goes to blast Dax in the head with a steel chair, but Daniel Garcia shows up. His head is completely bandaged up and he lays into Malachi. The brawl continues outside the ring, and Garcia is bleeding through the bandage. Wheeler is the only man outside now. Never mind. He climbs all the way to the top of the cage and comes diving off and crashing onto a pile of bodies inside. Dax hits Malachi with a spine buster after a commercial break. Garcia's head is rammed into the steel. FTR and Garcia rise to their feet and drag them back down. Cass throws Buddy headfirst into the steel. Dax with a brain buster on Malachi. And all 6 men are laid out on the mat. Dax goes to escape through the door. Brody spears through the opening, and both Dax and Brody spill out of the ring for the first escapes of the match. After the commercial break, Cash is sent crashing through the table on the floor below, and has technically escaped the cage. Buddy can drop down, but decides not to. He wants to climb back and to give a 2-on-1 advantage over Garcia. However, Garcia crashes into the steel from the inside, sending Buddy through a table on floor below. Buddy also technically escaped the cage and it's now 1 versus 1 between Malachi and Garcia. Garcia lays out Malachi and goes to climb up the cage, but Julia Hart meets him from the other side and spits mist in his face, blinding him. Malachi is 1 foot out the door, but a blinded Garcia demands that Malachi return and finish the job. Malachi gets back in there and tries to do just that, but Garcia catches him in a pillar driver on a steel chair. Garcia goes to climb the cage on one side while Malachi crawls for the door. Mark Briscoe shoves the cage door into Malachi's head. Daniel Garcia drops down the other side of the cage and escapes for the win. The baby faces celebrate like crazy as Collision goes off the air. Very good show in competition with Royal Rumble. Thank you guys for joining me. Please like and share this video. Subscribe my channel and keep watching Elite Wrestling World.